I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do.
Hello racing fans, and welcome back to another edition, a special edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forrester. We're going to go through Breeders' Cup 35. It's the 35th year, right. 35th renewal of the Breeders' Cup. It's of course been expanded in the past few years to a two-day event, and we will go over 6 of the races on the Friday card, and then
we're just going to cover just the Breeders' Cup races. We're going to touch on them, as Mike mentioned. Some very obviously interesting races. We got 2-year-olds sprinting, some turf races for the 2-year-olds, 6 in all. We're going to end it with the marathon, which is the last race on the Friday card. So
as of taping, it is raining in Louisville.
Yeah.
It's sprinkling, and it looks
it's pretty sloppy there today. And it's supposed to. I looked at the weather forecast. It's supposed to rain all week there. So you may want to take that into account when you do your
soft
handicapping.
turf, so it'll be interesting to see how it all does shake out. Well, let's get into the action. It does start in race number 5 with the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf Sprint, and always the Europeans seem to kind of have a big edge in this one, and I've gone to the 3 European horses. I'm going to take the 12 horse in here, Pocket Dynamo. He did lose to Sergei Prokofiev and Well Done Fox last time, but he got into a lot of trouble. And the nice thing about YouTube, you can watch a lot of these races. I did take a peek. If you do have time, check out some of these races. It give you some good insight. This horse did get into quite a bit of trouble. Gets Joel Rosario to ride, and I don't mind the outside draw. There is a lot of speed in here. Wesley Ward's got a whole pile of them in here that have speed, and I just thought maybe Pocket Dynamo might be a nice big price and could be live. The one that is the horse to beat is the 2 Soldiers Call. Just finished running against older horses. I thought it was crazy. It's for 2-year-olds and up, the Prix de l'Abbé in Longchamp. I guess being a straightaway going 5/8, I guess fast 2-year-olds can compete with fast older horses. And he did. And of course he did. And Mabs Cross was a 4-year-old. The runner-up horse Gold Vibe was a 5-year-old. And this horse only got beat ahead. But gets back in against 2-year-olds, goes on Lasix. Oysen Murphy is the pilot, and my third pick was E8, Sergei Prokofiev. It's a Russian composer. I actually did look it up. But a Kentucky-bred son of Scat Daddy did win his final prep, the Cornwallis Stakes at Newmarket. His soft course form is good. He won soft race there on April 23rd. He won by 7 lengths. And Ryan Moore is always the go-to rider for Aidan O'Brien. And Aidan does have a couple in here. And I thought that one would be good for third. I went 12, 2, and 8. I went to all the Europeans.
I always take the Europeans. You'll see that as we go through the Breeders' Cup card. I did not take a European in here, though. I went with Wesley Ward's Shang. Wesley has a couple in here that look tough, but this is the one that he gets John Velasquez on. He's an unbeaten son of Shanghai Bobby. Daughter, actually, girl in here. Broke her maiden at Keeneland. Those races aren't easy. Then went to Ascot, won the Norfolk there. So she's already gone across the pond, been successful over there. I like Shang to win this. I got Sergei Prokofiev in second. As you mentioned, of the Aidan O'Brien horses, this one attracts Ryan Moore, probably the livest one. 3 for 7 lifetime, and goes to the Lasix program here, coming to America. And I agree, Soldier's Call. Actually, when I did my picks, I didn't even notice that the last race was against
I thought it was a typo.
Horses.
I had to go look it up. Like 2 and up, that can't be right. And then it is. He ran against 4 and 5-year-olds.
And that's one of only, he's never missed the board. Only got beat ahead in that race, one of only 2/3 of his life. He's 4 for 7. Very live horse there.
He beat 27 horses when he broke his maiden.
I looked back at that.
First stake there at Ascot, he beat 27 horses.
28 horses.
6 Colts, 6 Fillies in here, by the way.
So the 12 horses they have in here shouldn't be a problem for him. I went 7, 8, and 2. In the first Breeders' Cup event of the weekend, onto the Juvenile Fillies Turf, going a mile. Goes as race number 6, and there's a bunch in these ones. This one's got 14.
14. A couple waiting to get in.
I went to another Euro, Aidan O'Brien. He's always dangerous in these turf races. Just wonderful. Daughter of Dan Silly. 6 starts, 3 wins. Most recently a Group 2 in Newmarket. Field of 9. Came from just off the pace. Should suit well in here. A good post for her, a 4. The horse to beat in the North American horses, my second choice, Newspaper of Record for Chad Brown. She has been super impressive in her 2 starts. And over yielding turf both times. Won at Saratoga, won by 6. Came back in a grade 2 at Belmont. Yielding Turf again got an 88 buyer, won by over 6 again. That is the toughest one of the North Americans in here. I have her in second. And I threw another local one in here, Varenka for Graham Motion. The fact he put this filly in here, I like. It's a go sapper. She's run 2 good races again over Yielding Turf, ran second behind Newspaper Record last time, and really seems to be going the right way. You look at her buyers, 50 in her first start, 68, 76, and Ortiz takes the call. That's never a bad idea. That's my long shot pick in here. I went 4, 6, and 9.
Yeah, I agree with the 6-horse Newspaper of Record. Chad Brown, he was reading one of the articles. He did go to, the first time they've gone to Ireland to buy horses. They went to Tattersall's sale, and they're bringing horses over here. So actually, this is a Euro, but racing in the United States. And obviously, they purchased a really nice one for the Klarovich stables. And you're right, this horse done nothing wrong. Had the easy lead last time, but it looks like the horse can sit off the pace. From him, The most important note you made, this horse has been on some kind of turf with some give in the ground, and this horse performed admirably, and she's definitely the one to beat. I agree with your 4-horse, Just Wonderful, for Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore. Looks like the best of the imports. She's got an excellent record, a Group 2 winner, Group 3 winner, and just looks and goes on Lasix, which is and nicely drawn in gate 4. Like kind of a short run into the first turn, and that's a big key. And I threw in the 14-horse called East, a filly by Frankel, undefeated, running against nothing. I watched the race last time. You can tell the European-type trainers and riders, they school their horses for these big days. They don't necessarily throw everything at them in each race every time they run. And it's more of a progression. This horse was on the lead early, took it back to last. It was only a 5-horse field, but still the horse produced a really good run. I'm a little worried about the outside draw, but I thought the horse was interesting. Jamie Spencer rides, one of the top European riders, and I thought this horse was worth a look.
Undefeated daughter, frankly, can't go wrong there. That one caught my eye too.
Yeah, I went 6, 4, and 14 in the Juvenile Fillies Mile Turf. On to the 7th race. This is the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We're going to the dirt. Going to go a mile on the 16th, and a lot of this, anytime you're dealing with these kind of races, obviously we have a lot of good form here. You're having horses meeting each other. A lot of them, the East and West Coasts, are finally hooking up, and it makes it a little difficult. I was really impressed with the replays I've seen on the 7-horse Jaywalk. Very easy win on a track that favored closers. This horse did go very quick early, and still managed to draw away when asked by Joel Rosario. Joel Rosario did ride the 8-horse Sipican Harbor to a grade 1 win in the spin-away, but he shows up on Jaywalk for John Service. This horse just, it's a filly by Cross Traffic, which I have a soft spot for, as our Dancing Shoes, the Barb has, is by Cross Traffic. But Jaywalk, I don't think the horse needs the lead, and I think this horse has some versatility. He can get a good trip. I put the 1-horse Reflect in the 2nd spot. This horse was really rank, and Jamie Graham looked to be having trouble with the horse, rating in behind Serengeti Empress. It was kind of, or not Serengeti Empress, it was Restless Rider. But I thought this one would be the better of the two coming back, especially with Jose Ortiz moving into the tack. But I just thought this horse made a couple of runs into the rear end of horses, and it just took the run out of the horse. I mean, he kept letting the horse run up into bad spots. The inside post did it in that day, but I think maybe a flashier rider like Jose Ortiz might be able to get a better trip on Reflect. And I put the 2-horse Serengeti Express, who's just been 33 lengths in total the last 2 victories in stakes races. That was a really fast pace too, the Pocahontas Day, because the Iroquois was also the same day. They went the 6 furlongs at 1:14, and I think the half at 48 and change, and she went 46 and 4, 112 and 1, and drew away. So she could be tough, but there is other speed. There's Bellafina. You got Restless Rider's going to be near the pace. Vibrance. There's going to be some speed in here, and maybe she can just go fast all the way. Maybe she can sprint him on the 16th. I don't know. But I was impressed with the 7 Jaywalk. I went 7, 1, and 2.
I went to the 10 Bellafina, the California Invader here for Simon Callahan.
Stayed away from California. It might be a mistake.
Well, just the one blemish on her record, and she's been stomping on these horses. I mean, Mother came back to win at Churchill 2 days ago, impressively. So Bellafina for me, rolling coming into this for Simon Callahan, and I'm going to put this daughter Quality Road on top. I agree. Serengeti Empress, wow, looks like a form you see from Rachel Alexandra, just crushing her foes. Win by 13, won by 19 last time in the Pocahontas. As Mike said, a very good time that day. And Corey Lannery, who's one of the top riders there in the Midwest at Churchill, does take the call. He knows Churchill very well. Serengeti Empress for me in the second spot. And I put in Restless Rider in the third spot.
Ran well at Keeneland.
Yeah, she's been running well. 3 for 4 lifetime, got an 84 buyer last time in Keeneland. And those Keeneland races, those Archibald, any of those stakes races at Keeneland, they are super tough. So I went 10, 2, and 4 in the Juvenile Fillies. On the 8th, Juvenile Turf, going a flat mile on the grass. I went to the way outside. Aidan O'Brien, my man here again. Anthony Van Dyck, 2-year-old son of Galileo. Everything, the best horse in Europe are by Galileo or Frankel. Yeah. This one's a Galileo. 6 starts, 3 wins. As Mike mentioned before, they don't necessarily crank these guys up every time. You don't see the Euros coming over here with like undefeated records. You know, they like to train them in the races a little bit. 7th in his first race, and he broke his maiden by 8. Comes back, wins a Group 3, a Group 2. Only gets beat a length in a Group 1. Last time 3rd in a Group 1. But he's coming over here with a purpose, and Aidan O'Brien historically is dead tough in this race. I'm taking Anthony Van Dyck on top. Of the 12-horse Current of the Todd Pletcher barn, son of Curlin that's been really impressive on the turf. Again, another horse ran in 2 turf courses rated good. Won at Saratoga. His first start ran 3rd. Came back, broke his maiden at Belmont over turf rated as good. Got a 77 buyer and came back to win the Bourbon at Keeneland. And those Keeneland races, they're just down the road.
They're kind of softer turf too. Like, they're not, that was firm, but still Keeneland has got a lot of give in the ground.
Exactly.
You never get a hard pan turf course at Keeneland.
No, it's not like you would get on the West Coast or something like that. But Current looks good. Top connections, Todd Pletcher and John Velasquez. Current in second, and I threw in Much Better. I just didn't want to leave out Baffert. This filly by Pioneer of the Nile, I paid $600,000 for. Broke her maiden first asking at Del Mar fairly comfortably and came back in a good second. That was her first time facing winners, and just, you know, another guy that's set up for a big weekend here, I think, is Bob Baffert. And I didn't want to leave this one out. This could be a bit of a price. I went 14, 12, and 3.
Yeah, I agree with the 14. Anthony Van Dyck is the horse that's bringing in the best form. He's one of their top 2-year-old colts in England, and if the 14 post doesn't beat him, then I think he's going to be really tough. I put the 5-horse Line of Duty for Charles Appleby, William Buick in the tack, back-to-back wins.
Another Galileo. Yeah,
another well-bred, lightly raced, and just looks like this horse is going the right way. I watched the replay. The horse did lack room, but a lot of times lack room's kind of it's deceiving. Is they want to lack room. They want to keep them covered up and then produce them in the last 100, 150 yards, and then they produce this good kick. And that's pretty much what this horse did. But this horse is live for Godolphin. And I put the 4-horse 40 Under, who's owned by I was reading another article, owned by Bill Parcells, former coach of the New York Giants. He's part of the August Dawn farm, and Jeremiah Englehart trains. Ever since this horse moved to the turf, perfect 2 for 2, and of note, a nice yielding victory last time in the Grade 3 Pilgrim. Sat the trip on the inside, wasn't fast at all, but cruised home to a hard-fought win over Some Like It Hot Brown for Michael Maker, who would have been my next horse. But I threw in the 4-horse for Manny Franco and Jeremiah Englehart and Bill Parcells. I went 14, 5, and 4 in the Juvenile 2-year-olds turf. On to the 9th race. This is the Juvenile for 2-year-olds on the dirt, mile and the 16th. The first 5 races are for the 2-year-olds. Got a field of 14 in here, and I've gone to the 11-horse, the 11 Code of Honor. Nice win first time out. Going 6 furlongs, slow pace early, cruised home, very comfortable throughout. Was off for about a month and a half and just had broke well, fell flat on his face, stumbled badly, and made a really good move off the pace, running against Complexity, who had things all his own way on the head end, was never challenged, went fast fractions. He earned it. I'm not saying Complexity had things that easy, but he still ran a big race. But I thought Code of Honor ran a super race, considering if you go and watch the replay, he fell on his face, had to weave through traffic. Well, this horse is having a party up on the head end, and I thought Code of Honor was worth following. Complexity was second for me, and I put Game Winner in for third. It was a pretty good time that day. That was not a quick track, the day that he won the American Pharoah, and those fractions are pretty solid too, while Rosario rides for Bobby Baffert. And I think you need all 3 of them. I think 6, 9, and 11 of the horses. I really didn't fancy. I'm trying to think if I missed anyone else. I really think those three stand out on paper to me. But I'm going to lean on the 11 just for the price angle. 11, 6, and 9. I
got the same horses. I did go to game winner then. As I just mentioned, I think Baffert comes in here. I mean, the last few years he's
it's too
just been rolling. And this Son of Candy ride, perfect 3 for 3. He's done it all fairly easily. I mean, even the one day when Mario rode him, he only won by a length and a half, but he did it relatively easily. Never really seemed to be in question, was sitting just off the horses. And his other 2 wins were, you know, by daylight, by 4 and by 5. And Baffert knows how to have him ready for these big days. And he's got a nice work coming in this in 47 flat. Game winner for me, on top of Complexity and Code of Honor, your other 2 horses. I agree, those are the 3. Interesting to note, too, when you touched on Code of Honor, Shug McGahee's not a guy that has horses ready to roll that win first out. The fact this horse did probably tells you that there's a lot of talent for the son of a noble mission.
And of note, too, that Johnny V was out of town last time, so Eric Cancel rode the horse, and Johnny V's back aboard, which is a huge rider change.
That is not going to hurt his chances. Same numbers as Mike, different order, 9, 6, and 11 for me in the Juvenile Turf. On to the last race on the Friday card, which is the Marathon, going 1 mile and 3/4.
14 long furlongs.
Giddy up. I went to, this is, maybe get a bit of a price on this horse. I've liked this horse. I picked him in the Breeders' Cup Classic a few years ago when I thought Bayern should have been taken down. He's only raced a couple of times this year. That's the number 9, Toast to New York. Ran second last time. He ran second, you know, he hadn't run since, well, he hadn't run since 2014. Then he runs in December, runs back in January. Actually, won in December. Runs back in January. Runs terrible. Yeah, the Pegasus World Cup. Then he comes to Churchill just recently. A good second behind a horse that I don't mind in the Classic, Mind Your Biscuits. Toast to New York will get the distance. He's made over $3 million. By far the most accomplished horse in the field. There's some other younger horses that don't have that kind of experience. But I like Toast to New York with Julien Leparoux on top. Of the 10, Rocketry, Son of Hardspun. I look at horses that are proven, you know, close to the distance. And this guy's, you know, just one going 1 mile and 5/8 at Belmont for Jim Jerkins. And I'm going to go with Rocketry with Rosario in the second spot. And I put in Dabster, that nice, well-bred son of Curlin that Bob Baffert paid $1 million for. Hasn't turned into the superstar they thought, but he should get the distance. And he's won 2 nice races in a row, a couple overnight stakes down in Southern California. I'm not going to leave Talamo and Baffert out. I went 9, 10, and 2.
Yeah, I went to Dabster. I think this horse will run all day. You know, probably going to get hurt. The odds will be hurt by this horse winning going 1 1/4 mile last time at Los Alamitos. Wasn't the toughest race at all. Divisor and Colonist aren't the best of horses, but still, this horse has speed, can sit the trip close to the pace, and I know it's a long ways to go, but I just think Dabster can go that far. The 10, Rocketry, has already proven he can go that far. He won going 1 mile and 5/8. Did get a good pace to run at. Only had 5 horses in the field too, so there was less traffic, but still. He proved that he could handle dirt as well. The distance was never a problem. It was his first time on dirt. And he gets a nice outside post, and he should be able to keep the dirt out of his face for a while in the long straightaway because it does start at the 6 furlong start. And I put the, who did I put in for third? I put the 6-horse War Story, who finished a distant third, but this horse got chased by a horse called Archinova. The first mile in 1:37 and 4. The 1 1/4 was 2:02 and 4. And he actually fought on when Rocketry and Your Deplane came to him, but he absolutely had nothing left at the 8 pole, and pretty much Castellano eased him and ran third. But still, this horse had to do so much early running. It was impossible for this horse to go 1 mile and 5/8 on the head end the way he was asked to run. But they get IRAD RT, so that's not a bad thing. 2, 10, and 6 in the Breeders' Cup Marathon. That'll do it for our selections of the Friday Breeders' Cup Day 1 races, which do start in race number 5. Next up on screen will be just a quick recap of those selections. Back in the 5th race, the first Breeders' Cup race, which does go at 12:20 our time. 12:20 is the first post for the Friday card. I went to the 12 Pocket Dynamo, going to go 12, 2, and 8. Race number 6, the favored newspaper of record. I'm going to go 6, 4, and 14. The 7th race, I'm going to go to the 7, Jaywalk. I'm going to go 7, 1, and 2. Race number 8, the 14, likely favored, or one of the top choices anyway, Anthony Van Dyck, over the 5 and 4. And the 9th race, the Juvenile. I went to the 11, Code of Honor, over the 6, Complexity, and the 9, Game Winner. And the 10th, the Marathon. I'm going to go to the 2, Dabster. Going to go 2, 10, and 6.
On my picks there. Back in the 5th, our first Breeders' Cup race. I went to the 7, Wesley Ward's horse, Shang, over the 8 and the 2. In the 6th, I went to the 4, Just Wonderful, over the 6 and the 9. In the 7th, the girls, I went to the 10, the California horse, Bellafina, over the 2 and the 4. In the 8th, I agree with Mike, another Aidan O'Brien horse here, Anthony Van Dyke, over the 12 and the 3. In the 9th, the Juvenile, I went to Bob Baffert, number 9, Game Winner, over the 6 and the 11. And in the nightcap, the Marathon, I went to number 9, Toast of New York, over the 10 and the 2.
Well, that'll do it for the Friday, November the 2nd edition, day 1 of the Breeders' Cup Handicappers Corner. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget to tune in for our Saturday. We'll be a little busier, a lot more races on tap. We'll be looking at races 3 through 11 on the Saturday, November 3rd program from Churchill Downs. Once again, the track looks like it could be on the sloppy side.
Could be wet.
The turf course should be a little on the soft side or yielding side, so you're handicapping with those weather conditions in mind. On behalf of Drew, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you next time, we'll see you for the Saturday edition of Handicappers Corner.
I got the horse right here, the name is Paul Revere, and here's a guy that says if the weather's clear, can do